I'm calling to order this hearing. This is a public hearing of the Committee of the Whole of the Council of the District of Columbia. I'm Phil Mendelson, Chair of the Council and Chair of the Committee of the Whole. Today is Thursday, April 10th, 2025. The time is 1:20 in the afternoon, and this hearing is being held in room 412 of the John A. Wilson Building. This hearing is being recorded and will be available on the council's website, which is www.dccouncil.gov. This hearing was originally scheduled to begin at noon. I apologize that we're starting late. There was a dedication of the new hospital east of the river at the St. Elizabeth's East Campus, and that went longer than anticipated. So again, my apologies. The subject of this afternoon's hearing is consideration of 4 nominations to the Commission on the Arts and Humanities that were submitted to the council on February 14th by Mayor Bowser. And these nominations are PR Proposed Resolution 26-68, Commission on the Arts and Humanities, Maggie O'Neill, Confirmation Resolution of 2025. PR 26-69, Commission on the Arts and Humanities, Julianne Brienza, Confirmation Resolution of 2025. PR 26-70, Commission on the Arts and Humanities, David Stedman, Confirmation Resolution of 2025. And PR 26-71, Commission on the Arts and Humanities, Cecily Habimana, Confirmation Resolution of 2025. The purpose of these resolutions are to confirm the nomination of Maggie O'Neill for reappointment for a term to end June 30th, 2028. I'm looking quickly. I think all are for a term ending June 30th, 2028. The stated purpose of PR 26-69 is to confirm the nomination of Julianne Brienza for reappointment to the commission. PR 26-70 is to confirm the nomination of David Stedman for appointment to the commission. And PR 26-71 is to confirm the nomination of Cecily Habimana for reappointment to the commission. And the purpose of this roundtable is to provide the public with an opportunity to testify or comment if they wish, as well as to receive testimony from the nominees. The Commission on the Arts and Humanities is an independent agency in the District of Columbia government. It's responsible for evaluating and initiating action on matters relating to the arts and humanities and is the designated state arts agency for the District of Columbia. The record in this matter will be open for 2 weeks. That is, it will close at 5 p.m. on Monday, April 24th, 2025. These resolutions are pursuant to the law. As I said, were submitted on February 14th, and they will be deemed disapproved on Tuesday, May 20th, 2025, if the council doesn't take action. I intend to take action on May 6th or present it to the council on May 6th. I believe the only witnesses we have are the nominees. That would be Maggie O'Neill, who I believe is participating virtually. Julianne Brienza, why don't you come forward? David Stedman, why don't you come forward? And Cecily Habimana, why don't you come forward? I think each of you may have statements. Why don't I start with Ms. O'Neill, just because that's the order in which I called folks. Go through each of you, and then I may have some questions. Good afternoon, Ms. O'Neill. You're first.
Good afternoon. Can you see me and hear me?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. I apologize that I couldn't be there in person. I am with clients and and it's an arts emergency, folks. I am going to abbreviate some of my testimony because of reading it before and just being obviously not there in front of you guys. But good afternoon, Chairperson Mendelson and members of the committee. I'm Maggie O'Neill, and it's my pleasure to receive your consideration for my continued nomination to serve on the Commission on Arts and Humanities. I'm grateful to Mayor Muriel Bowser for nominating me and honored to have this opportunity to serve the residents of our district. I'm an artist, designer, creative entrepreneur with over 20 years of experience shaping the cultural landscape of Washington, D.C. through both my design firm, which was Swatch Room. I've led the design of more than 75 commercial projects in Washington, D.C., including restaurants, nightclubs, hotels. And I'm currently in my latest project, which is the renovation of the historic Willard Hotel. My work has been featured in many publications, including the New York Times and Forbes and the Post. I've been working as an artist in DC for at least 20 years as a painter and gallery owner of my own. Um, I have a working studio and I work diligently to mentor emerging, specifically female artists in our community. I'm very passionate about community engagement and creating inclusive spaces that spark dialogue. I've launched several pop-ups over the years of gallery experiences, but also public murals. And I've worked with many local and national brands in creative collaborations. I was recently honored to receive the Mayor's Arts Award for Excellence in the Visual Arts in 2024. And I've served on many boards, including the Mayor's Commission for Nightlife and Culture from 2019 to 2024. And in the last 2 years, I've moved on in my process and my practice to include activism as a new title and the founder of a public art campaign called Vote for Your Daughter. I've always believed in the transformative power of the arts to elevate our communities and enrich lives. With my 20 years experience in arts and entrepreneurship, I've seen firsthand how the creative expression, but also the creative economy can really push forward economic development, bridge divides where, seems nothing else can, and really create lasting community engagement and enrichment of our city. So serving on the commission aligns perfectly with my commitment to these things and to cultivating a vibrant arts ecosystem, and most importantly, support the artists and expand access, enhance our cultural fabric in DC. And I'm really eager to bring my expertise to the table and contribute to the advancing of the commission's goals. With my background as a creative entrepreneur and a designer, I really do think I bring a completely different perspective to the commission, and hopefully that bridges some creative problem solving with practical business strategy. Over the past 20 years, I've worked with artists, many, many, many artists in this city, arts organizations, developers, landowners, operators, and entrepreneurs to create sustainable programming, to create ventures that contribute both to the economic development, but also to community building. And I think the most important thing to me recently is our cultural vitality and viability as a city. I'm so proud to be an artist from Washington, D.C., and I think we really have a responsibility to make a global impact. With this experience and sort of the understanding between the intersection of arts and commerce, it really does position me as a strong advocate for policies that support both the creative workforce and the broader community. I am committed to using my expertise and my passion with the commission to fulfill its mission and expand its impact. As a member of the commission, I hope to work with my colleagues to create a dynamic and inclusive, sustainable ecosystem where access to creative spaces is more easily attainable for artists. I envision a city where artists from diverse backgrounds have affordable and accessible studio space to actually create not only their work, but build business and innovate. I see DC becoming a model for public art integration and artistic expression through a thriving public art scene, but also through performance art, installations, and diplomacy. With my colleagues, I hope the commission can serve as a bridge between artists and the community and policymakers to foster an environment that's accessible, visible, and integral to the city's identity. I really feel passionate about advocating for policies that ensure that all artists, regardless of their economic status or background, have access to affordable studio spaces, as I've already mentioned, and really will push for programs that specifically support emerging artists and creative enterprises, ensuring more success, I think, in our not only our public arts programs, but in launching creative entrepreneurs out of Washington, D.C. I think that the commission's been instrumental in supporting both emerging art and established artists, which is crucial for sustaining all of this. But I think that we can do more, and I'll work with the commission on not only the initiatives that are already set forth, but also to try to expand other opportunities and connections within my own network and expertise in the field. And additionally, during my time, I hope to see more collaborative, community-driven projects that empower the residents to actually engage with the artists in their community. And that is a big focus of my work as well. So I think that will inherently shape the artistic landscape of our neighborhoods. And I'm grateful for this opportunity to make a difference. And thank you, Chair Mendelson, for the opportunity to testify before the committee. I'd be happy to respond to any questions from you or the other members of the committee.
Thank you, Ms. O'Neill. I'll have a couple of questions, but let me hear from the others. Ms. Brienza?
Good afternoon, Chairman Mendelson and members of the committee. My name is Julianne Brienza, and I am honored to receive your consideration for my reappointment to the Commission of the Arts and Humanities Board. I am grateful to Mayor Muriel Bowser for the reappointment and truly appreciate this opportunity to continue serving the agency and the residents of the District of Columbia. I have been a resident of the District of Columbia for over 20 years. As a female founder and leader of a DC arts nonprofit, I have cultivated numerous collaborations with businesses, community groups, and individuals. My work has focused on creating earning opportunities for individual artists and promoting the arts at a citywide level. I am passionate and determined to do everything I can to ensure DC continues to make space for individual artists, not just institutions, touring entities, and global events. During my initial appointment term, I took on the roles of Governance Committee Chair and Secretary. In these roles, I worked closely with the Chair, Vice Chair, Treasurer, and key staff, leading and executing the following initiatives: amending the agency's bylaws to better align and streamline governing practices, and instituted that a full review of the bylaws occurs every 3 years. Established and implemented a blind annual survey, allowing all commissioners to provide input on the executive director's annual performance review conducted by the chair. Ensured that the agency's multiple funding programs were clearly broken down by program and presented as part of the Finance Committee packet at our monthly public meetings. Collaborated with agency staff to update the standard operating procedure for public meetings, ensuring minutes are consistently recorded and tasks remain on track even during staff transitions. I firmly believe in the agency's role as established by the statute to evaluate and initiate action on matters related to the arts and humanities, as well as to encourage and develop programs that promote progress in these fields. It is truly an honor to serve as an arts commissioner, contributing to the preservation and the promotion of the rich cultural heritage of the District of Columbia. Thank you, Chairman Mendelson and members of the committee, for this opportunity to testify before this committee. And I would be pleased to answer any of your questions from you or any of the committee members. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Brienza. David Stedham?
Sure. Hi, good afternoon, Chairperson Mendelson and members of the committee. My name is Dave Stedman, and it is my pleasure and privilege to receive your consideration for my nomination to serve the Commission on the Arts and Humanities. I am grateful to Mayor Bowser for nominating me and honored to have this opportunity to serve the residents of our district. I have called DC home for 16 years, and over that time, I've been deeply immersed in the city's vibrant arts community. My path has included a long tenure as a volunteer tenure with tenor with the Washington Chorus, where I was fortunate enough to meet my now wife, as well as extended service on the board of the Children's Chorus of Washington. For many years, I served in various fundraising roles at St. Albans School before a stint as Chief Development Officer for the National Theater Foundation. These experiences, coupled with a soon-to-be completed Master's in Public Administration and Nonprofit Management, provide me with a wide and unique understanding of fundraising, strategic partnerships, and governance, critical elements for sustaining cultural institutions in an ever-changing, evolving landscape. Today, as we raise our 2 young children in DC, we take great pride in sharing with them a city that champions creativity in all its forms. For me, the arts are a powerful vehicle for community building, imaginative thinking, and the preservation of our core American ideals of freedom of speech and expression. It is now more vital than ever for the district to reaffirm its commitment to fostering a strong creative economy. I have seen firsthand how accessible, inclusive arts programs can transform the lives of young people, especially those in under-resourced communities, and serve as a catalyst for education, mentorship, and personal growth. If confirmed to serve on the Commission on the Arts and Humanities, I will dedicate myself to championing equitable funding for cultural initiatives, advocating for arts education in our schools, and strengthening connections among artists, institutions, and communities in all 8 wards. By uniting the passion of our local creative talents with thoughtful policy and funding strategies, I believe we can continue to expand the reach of the arts and enrich the lives of all Washingtonians, including those most at risk. I'm eager to work with fellow commissioners to ensure the district remains a beacon of cultural excellence, innovation, and inclusivity. Thank you again for your time and consideration. I would be honored to serve as an ambassador, celebrant, and participant in the arts for the residents of the District of Columbia, and I welcome any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Stedman. And Ms. Habamana.
Great. Good afternoon, Chairperson Middleton and members of the committee. I'm Cecily Habimana, and it is my pleasure to receive your consideration for my nomination to serve on the Commission on the Arts and Humanities. I'm grateful to Mayor Bowser for nominating me and honored to have this opportunity to serve the residents of our district. Since joining the DC Commission on the Arts and Humanities in 2023, I've had the privilege of serving as chair of the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Committee, as well as a member of the Finance Committee, Public Arts Committee, and Executive Committee. These roles have allowed me to actively advocate for fair access to funding, ensuring that artists, arts organizations across Washington, D.C. receive the support they need to thrive. My experience on the commission has reinforced my belief in the vital role that the arts play in shaping and enriching our communities. I deeply am committed to making sure that grants are distributed fairly, empowering artists to continue their incredible work throughout our city. As a proud representative of Ward 5, I am dedicated to ensuring that arts funding is allocated properly and that artistic expression is supported in every corner of the district. My connection to the commission extends beyond my tenure as a commissioner. I have been engaged with the DC arts community in various capacities for many years. I received my first grant from the commission as a college student, supporting a dance company that I was a part of. Later, I transitioned into the world of arts development, securing grants on behalf of numerous arts organizations and individuals throughout the city. Additionally, I have served as a panelist, bringing my experience as both an artist and an arts administrator to the grant review process. Through these diverse experiences, I have gained a deep understanding of the Commission's impact on the arts ecosystem. As an artist myself, I know firsthand how crucial these initial grants were in shaping my own artistic development. That perspective continues to guide my work as a commissioner, ensuring that our policies and funding decisions prioritize the needs of the artists we serve. During my career, I have worked with various arts organizations throughout the DMV, including the Dance Institute of Washington, the Alice Performing Arts Center, and the Clarice Smith Performing Arts Center. In these roles, I've managed relationships with institutional donors, including the DC Commission on the Arts and Humanities, which gave me the firsthand insight into how these funds sustain arts organizations. Currently, I run my own company, So Creative Lounge, located in Atlanta, Maryland, where we are dedicated to preserving and promoting the art of sewing and quilting with the mission of teaching the world to sew one stitch at a time. As we move forward, it is an imperative that the Commission continues to evolve to meet the changing needs of the artists and arts organizations in DC. The past few years have presented significant challenges, and we must remain steadfast in our effort to re-engage and support the artistic community. I'm committed to working with my fellow commissioners to advance initiatives that empower artists, foster sustainability, and ensure that the arts remain a vibrant and accessible part of life in Washington, D.C. The DC Commission on the Arts and Humanities play a critical role in nurturing creative professionals and supporting artistic entrepreneurship. My vision is to continue strengthening our efforts to provide artists with the resources they need to build sustainable careers, contribute to the local economy, and enrich the cultural fabric of our city. Thank you, Chairman Middleton, for the opportunity to testify before this committee. I'll be happy to respond to any of the questions that you or any of the members have.
Thank you. Thank you, each of you, for your testimony. And 3 of you for your service so far. Mr. Stedman, you would be new to the commission, so I can't thank you for your service yet. I'm not sure who I want to ask this question of, Ms. Brienza or Ms. Habimana or Ms. O'Neill. Roughly how much time does it take to serve on the commission?
I'll go. So I would say we roughly spend about 1 to 2 hours per week doing the work for the various committees. When we joined, we were asked to, and I think it varies depending on what committee you're on, but for me, we were asked to join 3 committees once we came onto the commission. And so each one of them meets at least once per month. And so on average, about 1 to 2 hours per week.
Okay. Ms. Brienza, any additional comment on how much time?
I will state that I spent a little bit more time as I amended the bylaws in my first term, but that was by choice. I'm hoping that this year I will align with the manner in which Cecily detailed the time commitment. And we did update our bylaws to, I think it's only 2 committees now that we have to serve on, just so we can better align with that this is a volunteer commitment.
Now, this was a setup question, so now I'm going to ask each of you, do you have the time to participate fully if you're appointed? Ms. O'Neill?
I do, and I'm very new to the committee since the summer, so I can't speak as regularly as the other 2 have just spoken to, but I can commit to answer your question, and I think the amount of time so far feels like there's a regularity to it that I can estimate for, and it's good to hear what Julianne just said about the 2 committees, because I've been assigned to 2 of the committees, and I feel very confident that I can commit to that.
Ms. Brienza, do you have the time to serve?
I do. Thank you.
And Mr. Stedman, knowing what you're getting into, do you have the time to participate fully?
Indeed, I do.
And Ms. Habimana?
Yes, I do. Thank you.
Now, I think I'd asked this in pre-hearing questions, and I think I got responses from all of you, but I always ask this question, whether you're current in debts or taxes to the district or federal government. Ms. O'Neill, are you current? You're muted.
Apologies. Yes.
And Ms. Brienza?
Yes.
And Mr. Stedman?
Yes, sir.
And Ms. Habimana?
Yes, thank you.
And third question I always ask is about conflicts of interest. Now, the commission's a little bit different than most of the boards and commissions that we have because most of the members are from the arts community, and the arts community does submit grants or submit grant requests. So my question is, do you foresee any conflicts of interest? And if there were to be one, how would you handle it? Ms. O'Neill?
I believe I touched on this in our last meeting. due to the public art campaign that I launched, that was my concern about my conflict of interest, but I'm aware of how I would go about recusing myself and making others aware. So I'm confident and I feel comfortable that we would know how to handle it.
And Ms. Brienza?
I feel completely confident that I am able to handle all situations when it comes to conflict of interest on behalf of my role as a volunteer commissioner.
And if one were to arise, how would you handle it?
I would first go to the chair and vice chair, and then I would also speak with the executive, and then I would recuse myself from any, if there was a vote or something that was happening.
So folks would be aware and you would recuse.
Correct.
And Mr. Stedman, do you foresee any conflicts of interest? And if so, how would you handle it?
I don't foresee any, potentially with some of the organizations with which I've served or worked in the past as a grant recipient, although since my understanding is the commissioners don't make grant funding decisions directly. But should a situation arise, as in previous roles, I would discuss with leadership and then make sure that folks are aware and then recuse myself from any decision-making or discussion if that's appropriate.
Thank you. And Ms. Habimana?
Hi, yes, I don't expect that I have any conflicts of interest right now, but if I were to have any in the future, I definitely recuse myself from those decision-making process and also talk with the leadership as well to see if that's even the thing that I need to do.
Okay. I always ask those questions at these confirmation hearings. Ms. O'Neill, in your testimony, you made reference to what to vote for your daughter. Can you say more about what that is?
Sure. It's actually a public art campaign that I launched a few years ago using my own artwork. I have been painting images of little girls and for a very long time. It's meant to be an advocacy and education program, teaching people about what's going on for women and girls' rights in their own state. And it's using the power of art, obviously, as this lever of advocacy and education. We are enlisting other artists to help work on these statues. And so the artist statement is one storytelling moment, and then what the actual statue allows for in the moment of advocacy, where you scan a QR code, it takes you to a website that tells you about what's going on for our 4 pillars, which are representation, education, equal pay, and healthcare. And that's a very short version of all that's involved in it, but it's a public art campaign. It's meant to be bipartisan, and it's meant to use art as a form of advocacy, diplomacy, and education.
And the form of art is sculptures?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Ms. Brienza, you've been involved with Capitol Fringe. There was no festival this year? If I may.
We made an announcement in January that we would not be producing the annual Fringe Festival starting this year, 2025. So we did one last year.
Okay. Will there be one next year, or is this discontinuance forever?
The Capitol Fringe nonprofit organization will no longer be producing the annual Fringe Festival.
Okay. May I ask why?
I mean, honestly, it was
It's a lot of work.
well, of course, everything's a lot of work. It's a decision that actually occurred over about a 7 to 8 year period. A lot of it was wrapped up in financial decisions. It was always very difficult to produce the festival. We've had an operating deficit nearly the entire time that we've done it. To be frank, the permitting of the vacant properties, that was a new requirement when we produced the festival in 2024, added a real layer of complexity that it was quite frustrating. The increase of costs of nearly everything from renting equipment to paying staff to getting t-shirts printed, it just became a very, very hard thing to do. So we made that difficult decision. And moving forward, we will be giving out, from an endowment that I started, we will be announcing in June an annual art award that we will be giving out. And the details of that will be announced in June, and that will probably go on for about 20 years. So the Capital Fringe organization is not going away. We just are not able to produce the annual Fringe Festival due to all the reasons I just stated.
Can you say a little bit more about permitting? Because supposedly we've got this pop-up permit.
That was the pop-up permit, and the issue so we did a tent in a parking lot for about a decade at AB Restaurante at 607 New York Avenue Northwest, and we did the same permitting process that is now required for vacant spaces. But for literally the 17 years that we did the annual festival, we used vacant properties. But what we did is we worked with the developers and made the venues safe for entrances and exits and the building of the stage and bringing in, a 30 to a 90 person audience. But we didn't have to go through getting a structural engineer or a registered design professional to produce schematics that either is a great expense or you must know someone to get a favor so that they will do it pro bono, which is a hurdle that someone would have to overcome. Luckily, last year when this new scheme got introduced, I was able to get with one of our former board members, Kingdon Gould, and he connected us to CORE, and they produced the plans for free. But in pricing that out prior, we used 4 vacant venues. It would have been $4,000 for each of those venues to get plans done. And as you can imagine, producing a festival with a budget of about $500,000 where you're giving 70% of your ticket revenue away, which is the point of the organization, it became just thinking of that as a long term, having to produce those plans, it became too much.
Thank you. Appreciate that. I did ask. Mr. Stedman, since you're new to this, how did you become aware of the commission? How is it that the mayor found you for nomination?
I guess I'll hear that question 2 ways, but that, I became familiar with the commission's work early on in my time in DC, understanding, the state agencies providing arts funding, and then as in my career as a fundraiser, of course, looking to the commission as a resource. But then for this opportunity, Chase Maggiano, who was a former commissioner who needed to step back because he was moving to New York, is an associate colleague of mine who I'd worked with in various capacities, starting at the Washington Chorus. And so he made me aware. And through that, Chair Van Lee and the mayor got involved and looked at my background and thought it would be a good fit, particularly given some of the similarities between Chase's and my background, that we would provide some similar perspectives on the commission. And I guess that's how we got here.
Thank you. Ms. Habamama, you've been on the commission for a few years. What do you see as the challenges right now? And I may open this question up to others.
Some of the challenges that we've been facing is one, it's cooperation among the different entities throughout DC. We've also had some challenges in terms of digitizing our grants process so they can be more efficient and so that the awardees can get their funding at a more reasonable rate. And I think those are like the top 2 top 2 things that we've been kind of facing in more recent times, but yeah.
Can you say more about the cooperation among agencies?
I'm actually going to pass this over to Julianne because she she probably can say it more eloquently than me.
You've been put on the spot.
Myself just in terms of I'm just talking in terms of like getting things approved and making sure that we're always in alignment with with the government, with DC government, as well with the commission.
I'm
So
guessing you
just-
want to say personnel policies.
I'm sorry. As an independent agency is what I mean. I'm sorry. And
So I didn't hear that.
no, what I was saying is in terms of being an independent agency, just making sure that we are in alignment with the DC government, with the council, like all of these entities, making sure that we are marching to the same tune. But also, yeah, just maintaining that as well. So.
Anybody want to add to that? I'm hearing silence. Give me just a second. I mean, excuse me, I may leave it there unless anybody wants to add anything about the commission, observations about the commission. This is open mic moment.
I just wanted to say, I mean, I'm reiterating what I said in my statement. It's been an honor to be in this position over the past couple years, being a voice for Ward 5, but also I lived many years south of the river as well. So just having that perspective has, I feel like has made a difference on the commission. Yeah, I've enjoyed this opportunity and would love to continue working with the other commissioners for this work.
Yeah, I'll just offer, just to read into the record, one of the things I included in the questionnaire that I was provided beforehand, but as a new guy, I don't have specific recommendations for the commission, but I think that there's an opportunity for the commission to better highlight the scope and depth of the impact it makes in our city. Greater visibility into its grant-making outcomes and the success stories can inspire even more public-private collaboration and help residents understand the wide range of benefits, economic, educational, and social that stem from robust arts support. And I also look forward to identifying any additional ways that we can streamline or strengthen the application and review processes, ensuring that artists and organizations can access resources with as few barriers as possible. And speaking as a former grant recipient, I know that's been work of the commission to make it easier for people to get money, hopefully still within a fiscally responsible way, but to get it out there as quickly and efficiently as possible, and then to celebrate it. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Brienza.
I just, this is the first government board I have served on, maybe the last, time will tell. I have worked with the staff, the executive, the chair, and the vice chair to really ensure that through our public meetings, the public is aware of really how the agency is operating. And I do think with the help of the staff and the leadership at the agency, we have done a better job of being transparent with the materials that are provided to the public. So I think that that's something to be commended. There are always rooms for improvement. No matter how good an agency is running and operating, there is definitely room for improvement.
Thank you. Ms. O'Neill, if you were here, you would be lined right up with the others. Do you have anything you want to say?
No, I'm relatively new to the commission. I would agree with what Julianne just said. I think there's always room for improvement, and I would reserve the ability to kind of make a more critical analysis based on my participation and my awareness up to this date. But I think getting the grants in the hands of the artists a little bit quicker and more efficiently, and beating essentially the statistics of last year, I know is something I hear quite a bit that's happening. And I think there's a lot of very conscientious, caring people on this committee who are doing their best to make sure that things are improving. And so I'm again honored and committed to helping everybody move in that direction.
Thank you. One last question that occurred to me. Are any of you aware of the Inspector General's report that was issued about 2 weeks ago? Has that been shared with members of the commission?
Hmm.
All right, Ms. Brienza.
Yes,
Yes.
we received it, I believe, like 2 days ago, and actually I shared it with our new member here as we were waiting for this hearing today. So yes, we have all reviewed it.
All right, just wondering. That's going to conclude the questions that I have. And just so happens, I was told that a couple of people have a hard stop at 2. And that's what time it is. So don't stand up because I have to first close out this hearing. This has been a hearing on 4 nominations to the Commission on Arts and Humanities. The committee will probably take this up on May 6th. The record for this hearing will close in 2 weeks. That's 5 p.m. on Monday, April 24th. So anyone who's watching, anybody who's not watching but hears about the hearing, you have 2 weeks if you want to submit comments for the record. I want to thank you all again for your service and your willingness to serve. Time is 2 p.m. and this hearing is adjourned.
Thank you.